Today I'm going to be talking about what it's really like to live next to Disney World. I'll be sharing tips I haven't seen anywhere else and hopefully answer the question, is it worth it? So if you want to know what it's really like to live next to Disney, keep on watching. I'll start off with one of the most obvious and best reasons to move near Disney World is your closeness to the parks. I live in Celebration, so it will take me no more than 15 minutes to park my car and start walking into the park. You can't really beat coming home after work, having something to eat and spending the evening at the parks, especially when the weather gets a little bit cooler here in the winter. Where I live, I can hear the fireworks, but I can't see them, but there's so many places surrounding Disney where you'll be able to see the fireworks from your apartment or your house. Since Florida is quite flat, it's not that difficult to see them. Living next to Disney also means you get to be one of the first people to experience all the new things that they're opening. If they have a new ride, like Tiana's Bayou Adventure, you can go and be one of the first people to experience that. Whether it's a new firework display or a new snack at the parks, you can be one of the first to go and check it out. But on the flip side of this, which I haven't seen anyone talk about, so it might be a me thing, but I always say, oh, I can do that next time. Like, since I live here, I can do that whenever I want. I'll just see it next time. That's why it takes me a long time to experience the new things that Disney will bring out. For example, like Tiana's Bayou Adventure, that opened in June. It's been about 2.5 months now, and I still haven't gotten to go and ride it. Just because I'm like, well, I live here and it's gonna be open for a while. So I don't really have that sense of urgency to do things. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. For me, it can stop me from trying out new experiences at Disney. I also haven't seen the new Epcot fireworks, and I think they have been out for like a year or something. It's always a case of, oh, there's gonna be a lot of traffic when we're heading out. Maybe we should just leave before fireworks, we'll miss the traffic. Those type of things, especially in Magic Kingdom, you know, when the fireworks are over and everyone makes a mad dash to the monorail or the boat, and then you've got to get the tram to your car, and that's definitely a whole thing. But that is what always stops me from doing new things. I have learned through living here that I don't enjoy the massive crowds on day one. But with that being said, I still haven't gone on, like I said, the ride. It's been over 2.5 months and I still haven't done it just because I'm like, well, I live here. If you live in Orlando and you feel that way, please let me know, because I haven't seen this take in any other videos that I've watched. Most people probably just suck it up and go and wait in the lines. I don't know, but for me, it's always, I can do it later. Not to go on a little tangent, but I feel like Disney also hasn't made it that easy to do those things. Like for the Tiana ride, you have to wake up to get a virtual queue, and then you have to wait for your group to be called. So it's something that you kind of have to plan out to do all day, or at least in like the morning. You know, it's not like you can just pop in and ride the ride, but I guess that's my own gripe with it. Anyways, it's still nice to be here when they are bringing out new things that you get to experience, but in my case, I always just put it off and do it later because I live here. I'm sure everyone talks about the weather. We know in the summer months it's 100 degrees, and I call the summer my winter because I just stay indoors. But Florida has some of the best weather from November until about April, May. I really love that time in the spring because it's still warm enough to go to the water parks, but not everyone is catching on yet and they're still going to the theme parks. Here in Florida, we do have some of the best winters. Now, I haven't lived up north and have to shovel snow or defrost my car, but I'm sure that living in Florida without any snow will be much better for you. Another thing I didn't realize when I moved here was how much I was going to love the water parks. So like I said, during the summer, I do tend to stay in and not go to the theme parks as much, but this just means I get to try out all of the water parks. So my all-time favorite water park is Volcano Bay at Universal. Sorry, Disney. But I am totally obsessed with Typhoon Lagoon at Disney World as well. And it's crazy that we have a water park, 2 of them actually, Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon, only 10 minutes away from us. I didn't know I would love that as much as I did, but if you do end up having an apartment or a house that doesn't have a pool, you can go to the water parks. It's $100 extra to add it on for the entire year on your annual pass, which is a really good deal because to go to the water parks, it can be about $80, even more, like during the summertime. You only have to go twice to really get your money's worth, so that's worth it. A lot of people will ask me if living next to Disney ruins the magic. Whether I am working for Disney, living by Disney, going to Disney every week, no, it has not ruined the magic for me. I think if you really look at the Disney adults and see how much they really complain about everything, you can kind of get sucked into that and I don't think it's a really positive place to be. I think if you're just going to the parks to enjoy them for what they are, then it doesn't really ruin any of the magic. Even working there through the toughest times in Cosmic Rays, I will never forget New Year's Eve in Magic Kingdom. That was really tough, but all through that, I still feel like it's magical. But I will say that it doesn't feel like a vacation anymore, which is another thing I haven't seen anyone really talking about. And it's kind of hard to explain because if you're like me, Disney was our holiday spot. Every time we were on holiday, it was at Disney. So of course, moving here is so exciting because you get to go to the parks whenever you want and it's in your backyard. And I am so lucky that I can just drive to Epcot and watch the fireworks after work. However, seeing people on holiday with their families and they're spending all day at the parks and they're gonna go back to the hotel, maybe they're gonna go hang out in the pool and come back. Like, a lot of people there are just on holiday and going in for 2 hours. You can kind of miss that feeling of when you used to go to Disney and it was like a week or two worth of vacation for you. And I hope I'm explaining that right, and I don't want to sound like I'm not lucky enough to be here. I'm sure if you come to visit Disney for your big holiday once a year, you would feel so lucky to come and live right next to it, but it's just hard to explain. I do kind of miss when my family would drive up here and we would stay at Disney for a week and we would go to all of the parks and hang out at the pools and you have dinners, and it's just a different vibe. But on the back of that, that means you can do lots of staycations because you don't have to travel far. You can still turn it into a holiday if you want to. And this is one of my favorite things about living here. I love staying at the Universal resorts. Disney is a little bit close for me because it does feel kind of silly. But to get to Universal, it's probably like a 30-35 minute drive from here. So it feels more like a vacation for a half-an-hour drive. But we don't tend to go to Universal as often, so when we do go, I love that it still feels like a holiday. Plus, you get Florida resident discounts on the hotels, which can either be the same or sometimes more than a pass holder. It just depends when you can find the deal. I love staycations. Even if you don't go into the parks and you just want to take full advantage of the hotel, that's what we'll do a lot of the time. Just hang out at the pool. We like to go to the arcade, which is something that we wouldn't normally do on a Disney holiday because we're always at the parks. So this really allows us to stay at the hotel, look at the restaurants, the arcade, the pool, things like that. Another good thing about living next to Disney is that friends and family can visit often. So if you like Disney, I'm assuming that your family enjoys Disney as well. And it's great that you live near the parks, so when they come to the parks, you can all hang out. And you can also make a lot of friends through living at Disney. So if you are involved in like the Disney community, which is kind of cringe to say out loud, but you can still meet a lot of people that way. If you like to do a solo date like me, maybe you'll meet somebody just chatting in line, or I don't know. There's just a lot of ways to meet people, like on Instagram and Facebook groups. I really like the Universal pass holder group because there's always people that are willing to make friends with each other. So if you are moving here and you don't really know anyone in the area, it's a great way to meet new people. Just get on the Facebook groups and you can always just like get a big group to hang out. And it can feel a bit more safe when you're meeting up in a Disney park versus somewhere else. Be safe. Anyways, of course, living next to Disney doesn't mean that's all you have to do, because there's a lot to do in Orlando, like going to downtown Orlando. We have more theme parks, Universal, Legoland, Busch Gardens. We have beaches on either side of us. You can have access to the cruise port, which I believe it's like an hour and a half away, maybe a little bit less. So you are closer to the cruises and you don't have to get on a plane to come down to the port. That is a really big plus, by the way. Getting to go on a cruise and not having to fly to the destination and then to get on the cruise, that's good. I feel like rent is expensive everywhere, so I don't really want to spend much time talking about rent and the housing costs, but yes, it is expensive the closer you get to Disney. Anywhere like Celebration, Winter Garden, Windermere area is going to be more expensive. If you go out to Davenport or Clermont, there can be more traffic, but it is a bit cheaper to live since you're further away. To go down 2 exits on I-4 to Champions Gate, it can literally take 40 minutes, and it's probably, what is 2 exits? Like 5 miles or something. So the traffic is crazy here, but if you've seen a video like this before, you know all about the I-4 traffic. It is crazy. That's why it's good to live and hopefully work around that Disney area so you don't have to go on I-4. I don't have to go on I-4, thankfully. I think if I did, I would definitely lose my mind. If you are moving to Orlando because you want to work at Disney, I would highly recommend getting a job secured before you move here. A lot of the time it's about who you know and not what you know, and it can be really hard to get a job in these big corporations, not just Disney. A lot of it has to do with networking. It's just hard. Take it from somebody who has been trying for the last few years. I originally did move here to live next to Disney and to work here. I moved here in 2020 to do the college program, and I was only about 6 weeks in, and then COVID happened, so they did let everybody go. And since then, I haven't worked for the company, unfortunately. Not without a lack of trying, but it's just really hard to get into those positions, or at least the positions that I would be looking for, because I have a marketing background and degree. So to get into those positions are very sought after and they're hard to get. I have a lot of friends that are also struggling to get jobs in this area, and especially jobs that pay well. At the minute, Disney Parks pays $18 an hour just for a park cast member. I don't know if it changes the longer that you've been there, but that's what I am aware of. So I would definitely take that into consideration before moving here. We have a lot more big companies here than just Disney. Of course you have Universal, but there's so many hotel brands. There is, what's the name of it? What's the name of the big travel agency? I'll put it here on the screen when I can remember it, but there's a lot of things like that. If you are still in college and you want to work for Disney, a good way to get your foot in the door is doing the Disney College program and doing a Disney internship. It's just unfortunate for the rest of us who are out of college now, and we can't do that. I believe that's everything I have for this video. So just to recap, living close to Disney means you get to be the first at all of the new attractions they put on, new restaurants, new hotels. You get to do all of it. We have lots more to do here than just Disney as well, like going to the beaches, visiting other theme parks. There's a lot to do in downtown Orlando, and a lot of people live here and they never end up going to the Disney parks. So there's a lot more to do. We know the weather in the summer is really hot, but it is perfect from November to May, and that is a big reason on why I live here. I just have to get through the summer. The magic may have been tainted for me at one point in my Disney journey, but I would not say it was ruined at all. I still enjoy going to the parks. I don't really listen to what the Disney news outlets have to say, is that this is falling apart and we're taking away Tom Sawyer's Island and everything sucks and all of that. I don't really pay attention to any of that. I just enjoy going to the parks with my friends, and it's a great place to hang out. Getting a job here can be very hard, not just at Disney, but in Orlando in general, and I know a lot of my friends are struggling with that as well at the minute. And the biggest thing I have realized since living next to Disney is constantly saying, I'll do it next time. I'll watch the fireworks next time. I don't want to be bothered by the traffic. I just want to get home. I don't want to go and do this new ride because I know that it's going to be crowded and it's going to be hot. But then that next time never comes. So at least what I've gotten out of this video for myself is to try to do more things that are new. I haven't even been to the new section at Epcot where you can meet all the characters, and I'm pretty sure that's been out for 2 months as well, so I need to get on that. But I do hope this video was helpful if you are planning on moving to Orlando. I do a lot of apartment tours here in the Disney area, like Winter Garden, Windermere, and Celebration, so I will link those down below if you want to check them out, and I will see you next time. Bye!